This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gramin. The participants are Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Renu Kataria, AIR correspondent.
Sir, what are the key features of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gramin, and who is eligible under the scheme?
Well, this is a very unique scheme, which is rather an improvement of previous housing schemes of Government of India. And this is part of that objective of the Prime Minister, that is housing for all by year 2022. So the basic thing is to provide 25 square meter of a Pakka house with all the basic amenities to the beneficiaries of the scheme. So these houses are planned in such a way that they are disaster resilient, low cost, and they also take into account the social, cultural and other geoclimatic factors of that particular area. And this was announced actually as part of the Prime Minister's major program for tackling this whole problem of having Pakka houses for the poor. And we have seen that this scheme was conceived with a lot of ideas, with a lot of initiative and providing central support for these schemes. In most of the states, it's 90% and 10%, particularly in states like Northeast or in Jammu Kashmir or other places. In other places, it is 60-40 ratio where the center provides the 60% of the money and the state provides the 40%. And not only that, these houses are constructed with the help of the very people who are beneficiaries. It means that they are providing unskilled labor from the Manrega program for this. So it's a very unique thing which has actually seen a lot of results, and particularly as the Prime Minister noted today, that the COVID period has been utilized to speed up construction activity, because normally it takes about 125 days. What has happened in Madhya Pradesh, where today Prime Minister launched the program, they have shortened it about 40 to 60 days in constructing these houses.
What has been the response of the states and their coordination with the centre, as the ratio you just mentioned is 60-40 as mandated for the scheme?
The previous complaints of the Mantri Awas Yojana, and the problem was the houses were constructed, but they were not livable. The drinking water facility was not there, the toilet facilities were not there. So very often, the construction were left half done. But this is a different concept where you don't just give them house with four walls. What you're doing here is you're providing everything is there. There is a provision for drinking water supply, piped water supply. There is a provision for toilet facilities. There is a provision for disposal of waste. So that all that is essential. And also, center has already got other schemes, like Ujjwala scheme is there. They are also provided cooking gas cylinder. So that any family, any beneficiary which is covered, extremely poor families which are covered, they can straight away move into the house and have all the basic facilities. So therefore, there is a coordination involving several other government departments, both at the center and at the state level. So this is a very unique scheme, and the response has been very good. And the whole intention is that by 2022, at least, we should be able to cover 2.25 crore families. So it's a very ambitious program, but we are already beginning to see results wherever this has started. And all the houses that are done with quality construction by employing skilled masons who can provide good design and also use the local material. This is a very unique scheme that has happened. And the scheme is implemented through Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin also, because the provision of toilet facilities, then you have the drinking water thing, so many things are there. And the beneficiaries are directly given payment. It's all Aadhaar-linked system which is working through either bank or through post office.
Even during COVID times, as you just mentioned, these homes were built in anywhere between 45 to 60 days, whereas the Prime Minister said that these homes would initially be completed within 125 days. So now we see that the ratio of building a house has come down to half of what initially would used to be. So who should the credit go to?
The Prime Minister has been emphasizing that Corona is a crisis, but it is also an opportunity. This is a very good example. What has happened is, we have seen during the Corona period, there has been a movement of labor from the cities to the villages. As the Prime Minister noted today, the fact that on an average building a house which takes about 125 days but has been completed in just about 40 to 45 days is a record. But then the reason is because a lot of the migrants who return from cities to their villages, their help has been taken because they also got down to working on the site. So the Manrega came to help and the labor was available to construct these houses. So as the Prime Minister said, this is a great example of turning a challenge into an opportunity. Because these migrant labor were also covered under the other program, which is the Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. In that, jobs are being provided and also you are having food grains being given to them. This is a very unique scheme, and the very uniqueness is because it has taken into account that all the needs of the poor are taken care of, whether water supply, electricity connection, the gas connection, all these things, because the poor beneficiary need not have to run around. The house is ready, but water supply is not there or the electricity is not there. So this practice has now been completely given up. Now you have a very coordinated approach. Wherever these houses have come up, they are of a comparatively a better quality than what we have seen previously. And the beneficiary takes a loan from the bank, and then they have a long period to repay it, because they also make contributions for their house, so that they also feel that it is their own house for which they have also made a contribution.
The Prime Minister also spoke of women empowerment in his speech today, saying that PM Awas Yojana Gramin is a step towards women empowerment. How has the scheme boosted the confidence of the rural women?
For any homemaker to live in a kacha house and not sure about that patta, not sure about whether your house is your permanent dwelling or is it they have to keep on looking for another house, that the removal of uncertainty from the minds of these poor women itself is a very big thing. That's a big psychological boost for these women. And second thing is, as I mentioned earlier, this construction of a house itself in the rural areas has been kind of economic activity. That activity has given some work to all the people, both to the men folk as well as for the women folk, in terms of Manrega. And because it is a construction activity, as the Prime Minister mentioned today, you are also seeing it has resulted a lot of goods related to, say, brick, cement, sand, all these have been bought and sold. So this means an economic activity. Economic activity in remote places or in remote districts or villages means that they have some work to do. So that means some cash on hand to take care of their day-to-day requirements. And besides the fact that they have been already covered under the special free supply of food grain which has been effected by the central government as part of the Garib Kalyan program.
What do you think are the challenges or were the challenges for the government in effective implementation of this scheme?
I think the main challenge in this program is to ensure, one, the quality of construction, and number two is the time plan is also very important, that things are done on time, sticking to the time schedule. And the third is the coordination with other agencies which are involved in providing piped water supply or providing toilet facilities or providing gas connection and electricity connection. So I think the whole need of coordination is very important in this. And in Madhya Pradesh, we have seen already of more than 50,000 masons have been trained, and of them there are 9,000 women masons. So the trained manpower is needed, because these houses are not done in a half-hearted way. There is a lot of planning, and quality material is also important, particularly ensure that a good quality material is used in the construction. I think these are the main challenges in which the district administration, the state government, as well as the central implementing agencies have to work in total coordination and monitor at every stage of implementation of this scheme.
What is your take on allied services being provided along with providing homes under the PM Awas Yojana? As the Prime Minister said, it is a very colourful scheme, Indradhanush ki tarah.
The very reason this was thought of, that previous occasions like you had the Mantri Awas Yojana, where many houses were built and nobody occupied it. Because A, they were in spots which were not accessible, there was no electricity connection, or there was no source of water supply, or there was no proper waste disposal or even toilet facility. Modi government decided that you are providing a house, it has to have everything. Otherwise, how is the poor family going to move into that new house and live? So that is why this idea was conceived, that even when you are planning to build houses, the planners must take into account where the water supply will come from, how the electricity connection will be provided, how the gas connection will happen. And the fourth part is, it has to be done in a quality way, because you have to ensure a quality. And these houses they cost very little. But you are doing something for his lifetime. For all these people, each houses may not cost more than, the whole idea is government itself is providing only 1,20,000 rupees. So it is less than 2 lakh. Now for less than 2 lakh, you have to provide them a house that will at least last at least one generation. So therefore I think the big challenge is ensuring quality construction, and along with all the facilities that have been thought of as a basic things that are needed for not just ease of living, but for quality of life also.
Talking about beneficiaries, how can a person check his or her name in the PM Awas Yojana Gramin beneficiary list? And if the name is not mentioned, then to whom should they be approaching?
it is important that they live in houses which are better houses. Also, little used more than 25 years of it. Also, they are taken into account whether they belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or other sections which are listed as. And the government itself has been focusing on beneficiaries that have the worst living conditions. So the socio-economic surveys that have been undertaken, that is being utilized. And also, if the family should not be owning a 2 or 3 wheeler or agriculture income, because this is intended for the poorest of the poor. So this is very important. And the basic things that are required for applying is, we all know it's an Aadhaar card and some Jan bank account details, Manrega registered beneficiary, job card number, they can mention it, and they have to apply. If they are covered under the local panchayat, then they have to apply to the panchayat office. And of course, they will have to access the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin website and apply through that.
So to what extent do you think the PM-Awas Yojana Gramin has transformed the lives of the rural people?
If you can provide the basic thing that is needed for these families, that is itself a big transformation of life. See, today when we are saying that we are going to cover 2.25 crore, the very poor of the poor families, it means that you are transforming life of the very poor. And particularly to roof over everybody's head is a very big thing. And we are completing 75 years since independence in the year 2022. It is the Prime Minister's vision that at least the poorest of the poor should have all the basic facilities. Because as the Prime Minister mentioned on 15th August, today home is not just drinking water, gas connection or electricity. The Prime Minister has also promised that they should also be able to access internet. Because internet has also become an essential service. Because you apply through internet, you do a lot of your banking transactions through internet. So the Prime Minister's idea is that work on optic fiber. So providing all the basic things. Because once a very poor family has a roof on its head, a roof which is their own, and they are not paying rent, and they have all the basic facilities, then they can get access to education of their children, which will transform their lives. So this is a very big thing that is happening, because this is a way you can empower the village, and by ensuring that various agencies of the government are, both the state government and central government and the local self-government, the Gram Panchayat or whatever is providing the basic services, project which is also ushering some economic activity in these times of corona in the backward areas, whether it is provision of building material or other materials needed for construction of these houses. I think this is going to be a very unique thing, because today's function itself covered about 1.75 lakh poor families in Madhya Pradesh. So I think this is a very important thing. And throughout the country so far, 1.8 million, that is 18 lakh houses have been completed so far. So this is a very important thing which the government has been pushing, particularly Prime Minister has taken it up as his flagship project.
There were schemes which were launched earlier too, like Awas Yojanas. So how is this scheme different from the earlier ones?
Previously, it was one agency was concerned with the construction of the house, and the other things were left to others to decide, But here, right from the drawing stage, when they are constructing the houses, they are also looking at the other aspect as to how to provide water supply to every house, how to provide electricity connection, how to ensure that a house has a gas connection. By working at it right from the time of conception of these projects, you are bringing in all other agencies which previously was not done. Previously, one agency was involved in constructing the houses. It constructed the houses and left it. And most of these houses were unoccupied for the simple reason that because the basic other amenities are not available, could not avail of this facility. Now that experience has been taken into account. And the idea is to the goal of giving a dignified life. And that can be achieved only when all the agencies of the government work in tandem to provide the basic facility, which is actually the sole objective of this Mantri Awas Yojana.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. The participants were Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Renu Kataria, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsttalks@gmail.com.